Hello, and welcome to Songs Nobody Asked Me For. Um, yeah, this is a bit of an impromptu episode, really. I don't know if I've got anything to say or not, really. The thing with it was that, yeah, we had a banging gig last night. It was really good, and I was just thinking of the significance and difference of just playing a gig where everything kind of goes right. We played, what's today? Today is the 17th of August 2025, just so that you've got a sense of where I am. Yeah, you'll be somewhere else at this time, because I'm about, I think this will be December or January this will be coming out. But we played a place called the B Bar, which is a bar in the Barbican Theatre in Plymouth. It's right in the old part of Plymouth. It's a lovely place. And the B Bar is kind of like a noodles bar, and it does sort of Asian food. It's really, really nice, and a nice vibe, very sort of mellow and relaxed. And once a week on a Wednesday, they do an acoustic cafe, and I've done that when I was just singer-songwriter myself. Did it early days with the band, John and Ollie and myself, and then have done it a couple of times, other times with a sort of more of a full band, and they've been a little bit dubious about the drums, but they've let us play, and we're quite a quiet band, relatively speaking. We're not super loud. But last night, finally, I've been trying to get a gig at the B Bar for ages and not succeeded, and then we did. And but it was a Saturday night, it was a paid gig. We had to play for two 45-minute sets, and it was pretty packed, really. So that's the first thing that worked well. It was packed. We'd had probably half of the people there were people who'd come to see us, people, friends, family, and that was nice, So we had quite a bit of a loaded audience. But the other half, I think it's a venue that people go and have something to eat, but they go to watch live music, and the people there were really into original music, and that was really nice. It's really rare, and sound was great. Sound was fantastic. And yeah, I think we were pretty good. I made a few mistakes. I don't think the other guys would have noticed, but I was a bit nervous at the beginning of it, but then settled into it. And yeah, people were really, shouting, whooping. We got an encore, like a proper encore, not one of my staged encores. Really did. And then the venue kind of said, "Oh yeah, you can do another song," even though we were past time. But in fact, I've got a little bit of video I'm going to show you. Just this is kind of a minute and a half, a minute and 12 seconds, in fact, of us. It's the end of our song "Why Did You," and it's a song that there's some la-la-ing at the end of it, and I might put it in the sort of intro or the outro, the proper song. And it's a song I try and get people involved in if we get a really decent audience. So they're really up for it, and you'll see people singing along, and then there's a bit of pan around to sort of some of the people that were there, because people were coming and going, and also yeah, you hear the response at the end. It's great, and I'm just going to put that on now. So, yeah, I enjoyed watching that again, and it's a great video. It's just a friend on their phone, it's kind of fantastic. But I don't know, it kind of makes me think that sometimes it only takes one gig to work either way. It was a bad gig or a difficult gig that set me on this path of starting this up. But I've often thought when I've started this, what is it I want? And I don't really, obviously, I think obviously, I'm not looking for fame and fortune and success. What would make me happy was what happened last night, which is that when we played a gig, we had a fair number of people attend, and we played busy gigs, and people were into what we were doing, and the kind of the sound was good. And maybe it's kind of like, I remember comparing it to football leagues right early on, or whether the second or third session. It might have been the fourth episode actually. And I was talking about, the difference between being Manchester United and realizing that you're Accrington Stanley, and this sort of a thing. But I felt when I played last night, it was like I moved up just a division, just, I'm still in the lower divisions, but maybe just up one league, or we'd won something, we'd won a cup or something like that. And realised that's all I really wanted at this stage, is just to maybe be playing in the next league up, that I could get gigs a little more easily. Love to get a few more festival gigs, and that when we did, people might have heard of us a little bit, which is kind of, some of the people there by association had heard of us, and that was great. It was really exciting. And there was a particular table of 4 or 5 young people actually who'd heard of us through my son actually, but they'd come along. 2 of the guys were really into it. They started following us straight away afterwards, and I would shout out to them, but I don't know their names because, of course, on Instagram people have got, sometimes they don't always have their name, it's the initials or a nickname or something. But really appreciate their support. But that's really great. You have people coming along or into something that they've just met you there. And we discovered that there were quite a few people who were into one of our songs in particular, which is a new song, which I'm hoping by now might be either released or soon to be released, but we haven't recorded it yet. It's called Thinking. It's one of the new songs that I've talked in the past about us having recently done. It's just going really well, and it's a nice, really funky song. And yeah, one of the guys, a friend of my son's actually, is really into our music, which is lovely. He's saying, that song. What is that song? Because I'm not. It's not recorded. You played it the other week, and because he'd come to another gig, and you didn't. It's not anywhere to. Why is it not recorded? And I said, well, we were going to record in August for various different reasons. We weren't able to, and he said, oh, you've got to record that song, and then at the end. At the end we were asked for an encore, and I thought, we'll do that song again. And people were clapping to it, and we got lots of whooping at the end. It was just lovely. And then one of the young women from the table of people who'd not seen us before came over and said to me, that last song, Thinking, it's called Thinking, yeah? She said, I can't find it on Spotify. We've been through all your stuff on Spotify. I wanted to find that particular song. I couldn't find it, and I said, oh, it's not recorded yet, but it will be. And I said, you need to follow us. And she said, yeah, we're following you now. So it's kind of, it's great. It's just really, that's all I need. It's all you need. If you're a creator of something, I think for me, not for everybody, I need a little bit of validation, but just beyond that sort of level of what maybe often we get, or we have got till now, maybe, you always think maybe that's the me kicking on. I don't know. We're playing down in Loo, a festival. It's our only festival gig this year, in about a month's time. So John and I are meeting this coming week to work on some new songs. Then we'll have 3 weeks of practice with the guys, do that gig. And then we've got, I think, another one in October, 2 in November, and 1 in December. They're quite quiet, but, as I think I've said before, one of my family has been poorly, just waiting for them to recover properly. And then in the new year, we'll be looking to play a bit more regularly. B-Bar wants to have us back. There's another venue, the Millbridge, I think it's called Millbridge Inn, maybe, which is in Stoke in Plymouth, and they've contacted me about playing a gig there. We played there's a sort of open mic night where they have 3 booked slots, 3 booked bands to play. We played there, they liked us, and the guy's been in touch, wants us to play a proper evening there. It's great, and again, it's a pub that appreciates original music, so I need a few more. I do this thing of focusing regionally, so I know we've got a gig in Launceston, and we've got a gig in Torquay and Tavistock, but maybe Plymouth is really our home base, even though I don't live there anymore. And maybe focusing, the next little bit of focus being focused in one particular area might be a really good thing to do, because I want to generate that little sort of following through, really. So, yeah, I feel really good. And that's nice, and I wanted to share that and to say, look, it doesn't take a lot. It's just, watching people appreciating your music and what you're doing is, when you're doing something like this, is important, really. And I feel really good about that. Yeah, listen to me. I met a guy called Ollie who used to be our drummer. I've talked about him before. He was there, and he was really complimentary and nice about these podcasts, which was lovely. You know, you need some positive rubs about this. I think I said in an earlier episode that I'd released it, and a friend of mine in Spain, who is again is very lovely, but gave me a real really hard critique of everything I was doing here. But I was just saying, oh, I like it. I listen to it on a Friday evening when it comes out on a Friday morning, and yeah, I'm enjoying listening to it. And then he was talking to me a little bit about faith and spirituality and how it related to music. And I've been thinking a little bit about therapy and how it relates to music, and I think that maybe there are some themes here that might come out of this. And so, yeah, that might be a theme of something that I do at some point soon. Got a couple of songwriters I need to be in touch with. I had a guy talk to me in the interval who'd been watching us, a little bit, a couple of years younger than me, but pretty much my age, really, who, oddly for me, asked me whether I'm a person who does astral planing, and whether that had been something that was influencing my songwriting, because he felt that some of my lyrics were quite sort of dreamlike, and I was really surprised. I find lyrics fascinating, as you know, because I find them hard to come across, but I've never particularly thought of them as having a dreamlike quality. There's one of our songs called Aquamarine, which we played. It's quite an old song. It's a song I wrote when I was doing this singer-songwriting, and it is about sort of connections. And Aquamarine, I used to introduce it this way actually, that my dad had a one Ford. What did he have now? He had a Ford Cortina. He used to get these things called Hillman Hunters that I used to love. They're old cars, obviously. If I can find one, I'll put a picture up now while I'm talking. Yeah, that would be good. Hillman Hunter. I kind of like them as a kid, you know. You look at them now, they look so old-fashioned. And one time he got a Ford Cortina, and he didn't get on with it at all. But the colour of that Ford Cortina was aquamarine. He got a spray can of it, so he must have got a scratch or something, and he kept this spray can. He also used to. I used to cycle, and I built. Well, no, at that point I didn't have a bike, and he had this racing frame that was on the garage wall. Been on there for years, and I often used to say to him when I was a teenager, "Dad, can I have that? Can I use your frame? I'd like to. I want to, I want to use it." And he wouldn't let me. And he said he'd had it built when he was he used to race bikes. He was amateur, but he used to race bikes. So this frame, and it was really nice. One of those ones you could kind of lift up with your finger. I'm not doing that to you. I'm going to lift up with your finger. Do that. It's better. And I was like, wow, okay. But he wouldn't let me ever use it. And then eventually he did. I was probably about 17. He said, "Oh, go on then, okay." So I built myself this bike. And one of the first things I did was I spray painted. I sanded down and spray painted this frame. And I spray painted it aquamarine. So it was just links and connections. And I would talk about that. My dad only did ever two cool things in his life. And once in the 70s, he grew these big long sideburns. And I've got this image of him in cheap Ray-Bans and these long sideburns, looking very cool. Slightly teddy boyish hair. Gelled back, brill cleaned back. That's what he used to do. Yeah, warm memory of him, because he did look pretty. I thought he looked pretty cool as a kid, and that he once had a full Cortina, but so this song has elements of him in it, and I mentioned my dad in it at some point, and I talk about color of my dreams without color of your dreams without me. It's one of the lines. So maybe that's where he got all of this sort of trippiness from. But I don't think it's a really trippy song or a sort of astral planing song. It's just a song of linked connections. And I was trying to be slightly Bowie-esque, and I think some of his songs he used to write lyrics and then cut them up and then sort of move them around. And I was trying to sort of just say lines that made links and connections for me. Maybe that's what he meant. I don't know. So I think there's some other areas to sort of delve into. But I'm really aware I've been a bit shy of doing some interviews, and I've got a couple of people up my sleeve. And I'm hoping to have done a couple before I do another one of these, but certainly one. I've got one possibly queued up for Thursday. Today's Sunday, so I'll keep my fingers crossed. Right, I'm going to go explore sound. I've kind of started to think about the idea of whether I could make the sound on this better by using a proper microphone, even though I don't have a better camera, but I do have the ability to record the sound on my laptop, do the video like this, and then use the video editing thing to sort of join the two together. I don't know, it might go horribly wrong. And if it does, I should just go back to doing this for a while. You'll have to put up with my slightly dodgy audio. But yeah, thanks for being with me. Do look, come and follow the curve, you know. Hashtag music the curve. You can find us. You can find us on Spotify. It would mean so much to me, so much to us. And you know, follow the podcast, like it. Love to hear your comments. And it was, yeah, good gig. Validation that actually what we're doing is okay. I've listened to some of the recordings that people did. We sound good, you know, and I'm thinking, yeah, no, we're okay. We're okay. I don't need to doubt the process of what we're doing. It's just a difficult thing to do sometimes, is all. It was good. It was good. Let's be positive. Way, get me, eh? Okay. Take care, and I will see you again soon.